At 68, Matthew Peterson had nowhere to go when the eviction notice arrived. With his last dollars, he hauled an abandoned train car to his small plot of land, enduring months of ridicule from neighbors who called it an eyesore and vandalized the exterior. Then the worst storm in decades hit their town. Matthew Peterson woke up at dawn, his back aching from another night on the thin mattress inside his train car home. Outside, he could already hear the snickers of passing joggers. This had become his daily routine over the past 6 months. But Matthew knew something they didn't. Behind the rusted exterior of this abandoned train car lay a masterpiece in the making. Life had dealt Matthew a cruel hand. After dedicating 40 years to the same manufacturing plant, showing up every day without fail, the 68-year-old found himself suddenly unemployed. The factory closed without warning, not even a courtesy call to the employees. 4 decades of loyalty wiped away with a simple notice taped to the door one Monday morning. For Matthew, this blow came just 2 years after losing his beloved wife, Margaret, to cancer. They had never been able to have children, so with Margaret gone, Matthew had no immediate family to turn to in his time of need. Matthew tried to remain optimistic at first. With his experience, surely someone would hire him. But the painful reality of age discrimination quickly set in. Each interview ended the same way, with sympathetic smiles and empty promises to call him back. His savings dwindled. The eviction notice arrived on a particularly cold Tuesday morning. Matthew sat at his small kitchen table, the paper trembling in his weathered hands. 3 decades in the same apartment, and now he had 30 days to vacate. Where would he go? What would become of the life he had built? In his darkest moment, Matthew remembered the small plot of land he had inherited from his parents years ago. Located on the outskirts of town, the oddly shaped property had remained vacant for years. Too small for a conventional home and awkwardly positioned between 2 roads. It wasn't much, but it was his. And in that moment, it became his only option. With his final dollars and the generosity of Carlos, his friend, Matthew purchased an abandoned train car from the railroad scrapyard. The price was low because nobody wanted these outdated cars. Using Carlos's truck and some improvised equipment, they transported the massive metal structure to Matthew's property. The neighbors noticed immediately. Standing on their porches, they watched with disapproving stares as the rusty train car was positioned on the small plot of land. The whispers began that very evening. What was that eyesore? Who would live in such conditions? Surely this would bring down property values in the entire neighborhood. By the end of the week, complaints had been filed with the town council. Dog walkers deliberately let their pets relieve themselves near his property line. Kids sprayed "Crazy Train" in bright red across the side of his new home. Residents posted mocking photos of what they called that old man's junkyard home in the community Facebook group. None of them bothered to ask Matthew about his situation. None offered help. They simply judged what they could see from the outside. What they couldn't see was the transformation taking place inside. Every morning before sunrise, Matthew would venture to construction sites and dump areas, searching for discarded materials others had deemed worthless. He visited yard sales during their final hours when sellers were practically giving items away rather than taking them back home. He rescued furniture abandoned on curbs throughout the town. With each salvaged piece, Matthew's vision came to life. He installed windows rescued from a remodeling project, positioning them strategically to flood the space with natural light. From reclaimed wood, he built a sturdy kitchen counter that ran along one wall of the train car. A discarded sink, repaired with careful attention, became fully functional again. Most impressive was the sustainability system Matthew designed. With secondhand solar panels he found behind an electronics store and batteries salvaged from scrapped electric vehicles, he created a power system independent from the grid. A rainwater collection network made from various parts channeled water into storage containers beneath the train. Carlos, with his electrical expertise, helped wire everything correctly, transforming what looked like junk from the outside into a functional off-grid home. But the neighbors saw none of this. They only witnessed an old man living in what they considered garbage. For 6 months, Matthew endured their ridicule in silence, focusing instead on perfecting his home. Meanwhile, the neighborhood petition to have the junk train removed gained signatures daily.